Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
Ow. Ew. Ow. Ew.
Want relief from tough pain without the tough taste? Try Goody's Cool Orange. Goody's fast, Goody's delicious. Because pain relief shouldn't be a pain to take. Goody's flavors, taking the pain out of pain relief.
Ow. Ew. Ow. Ew.
Want relief from tough pain without the tough taste? Try Goody's Cool Orange. Goody's fast, Goody's delicious. Because pain relief shouldn't be a pain to take. Goody's flavors, taking the pain out of pain relief.
Hello and welcome to the ISCA Super Cup Series. Tonight, we got the Goodies 250 at Martinsville. I'm your host, Big Al. Going to be joined in the booth by none other than Mr. Sheldon Atkins, and got Kobe Jordan. He's going to be flipping the switches and controlling the scenes behind us. Tonight's going to be a good one. Sheldon, how are you doing this evening?
Man, I'm doing great. Excited to be up here for another great opportunity to broadcast the ISCA series with you. Unfortunately, no Joe LaCastro tonight, but sometimes life takes precedence. We will be sure to shame him and blame him for everything that goes wrong with this broadcast this evening, as
definitely.
one always does.
I started to notice that things were starting to fall apart as soon as I pulled into the parking lot. But I tell you what, Sheldon, why don't you cover the keys to the race for us here tonight so we can kind of see what we got ahead of us?
Yes, 250 miles on one of the most grueling. We'll be playing with it here. One of the most grueling and caution-filled circuits on the iRacing schedule. Number one is going to be track position, just because of those cautions. You don't have to have a great car here. If you get up there in that front row, you have a shot. As long as you can maintain position on these restarts and get through the gears good and clean, it's going to take about 5 or 6 laps for them to get back to you. And by the time they get back to you, odds are in your favor. There's probably going to be a yellow before they actually get to the back bumper to actually make a move. Key number 2, you want to avoid the mayhem. We got, let me take a look here at the entry list, but based on how this league typically does, around about the 30 car mark. That's 4 corners, a lap, and brakes optional for a lot of guys. Through the wall of netcode and the difficulties with the sim itself, you're going to see a lot of cars spinning out, as we actually see on the front straightaway right now, the 45 machine go for a loop. So avoid the mayhem. It's difficult. here, and there's a lot of huge stack ups. And number 3, imperative everywhere, but especially so here at Martinsville, where you have very little opportunities to find and make time and very little opportunities to make different grooves work. You want to be able to manage those throttle and brakes. You're going to use modular braking to the most that you can here. You really want to creep it through the corner, through the center. Want to let that thing roll and rotate on its own. Then you want to slowly work your way back up into the throttle without scrubbing too much of that right front tire.
Roger that, man. Great keys to the race for us. Let me go over the points real quick, and then we'll get in our picks in the over-under on cautions. So as those point standings come in, we got Patrick Gitter sitting on top of the leaderboard with 2 wins and 5 top 5s. Matt DeCiani comes in second with Derek Heitman in third. Brandon Pasalacqua is in fourth. Paul Hill in fifth. Joey Preby slides in at sixth with Clayton Hoffman in seventh. Tim Wortman Jr. at eighth. Brian Johnson ninth. And Vincent Crow is going to round out our top 10 on those Super Cup Series points. Next thing we're going to go over, we're going to talk a little bit about the conditions here tonight. Sheldon?
Yeah, look at that, 66-degree ambient temp, partly cloudy with an 85-degree track temp. Now, with this being a asphalt meets concrete kind of surface, it's gonna be really cool here in the center of these corners. That concrete isn't going to really want to heat up a whole lot, but you're going to see a lot of different fluctuations in track temp, especially through the centers of the corners throughout the night. Pretty day for racing.
Great day for racing indeed. And let's go ahead and get it. What do you got? Who's your pick here for tonight there, Bubba?
Well, tonight, man, I got to go. He's been the story most weeks that I've been up here in the booth just because of how surgically he cuts his way through the field. I'm going to go with John Bender. We're missing a handful of our normal low-hanging fruit picks, but I think that 23 machine is going to be fast tonight. He has been every race this season. As long as he can keep it clean and stay out of the trouble, I think he's going to be good.
Joe's not here tonight, so we'll see up him, and I'll go ahead and give my pick. My pick's going to be none other than Matt DeCiani. And next we'll go for Kobe, and it's going to have to be real quick. Kobe, we're going to get your pick as well as your over-under for cautions.
As always, I'm picking Brandon Pasalacqua. It's his season this season, and I think we'll see 5 cautions this race.
Roger that, and we will actually get mine and Brandon's once we come back, but we're going to take a brief step away, get our national anthem, and we'll be right back with tonight's coverage of the goodies. Oh, that's right, sorry. Well, man, look, thank you for for keeping me straight there. So, go ahead, Sheldon, what's your over-under pick here?
Oh, look, when I say this, it's not because I don't have faith in the drivers out here on the track this evening. It's because I don't have faith in Martinsville. I'm going to go with 11 plus.
11 plus?
Yep. I watched SSRL the other night, and they are one of the most clean series that I've ever had the option to cover, and they couldn't get out of their own way either. And that was with a 20-car field.
Kobe? You said 5?
Yes, I said 5.
Kobe said 5, and the number that's just been in my head it's just 7. I don't know why, but 7 is the number that Big Al comes up with, so I'm going to go ahead and throw 7 into the hat. You tell us what your picks are back at home. Go ahead and throw them into the comments there, whether you're with us on X, YouTube, or Facebook. Go ahead and dial in. Also, let us know who your picks are for the race here tonight. So, Sheldon, how's your week been? Sheldon, you with us?
Now, yeah, I'm still here with you. Right now, taking a look at Sanchez, creeping his way around the half-mile paperclip. Not really able to hold nice and tight. Huge lockup there in the 1 and 2. That's not going to work out for a really good lap time, unfortunately. Currently, Mullins sitting on the top of the board with a 19.1. Good fast time out of the 54 machine. Pasalacqua right behind him with a 19.2. And Pasalacqua taking the top of the chart now with a 19.1. 141, just a few hundredths over Mullins in second place.
Yeah, definitely had a good feeling that Brandon Pasalacqua was going to be pretty fast here tonight. So we'll see if he's actually able to stay up on the leaderboard. And just like that, there comes Matt DeCiani with a 19.085. Definitely the fastest time that we've seen on the track so far. Will he best it, or is that going to be the best that we can do? We'll see here shortly. A lot of drivers here tonight. This is definitely gonna have the makings of a great event. You got a lot of drivers here. You can look. I do believe we got Tim Workman Jr. down. He is on your dash cam there. You can take a look at him. We'll be monitoring his heart rate, especially on the short track, because, like you said, Sheldon, tempers are definitely going to rise here tonight.
Aside from the super speedways, this is probably the most stressed these drivers are going to be all season too. Because you're constantly worrying about running over the guy in front of you, and every second of every lap, you're looking over your shoulder, knowing that somebody at some point is going to try and dive it in there just a little too deep, and might connect the bumper to you and send you around. So it's between a rock and a hard place when we come to these tracks when you're mid-pack for sure.
Yeah, all actuality, you want to be out front because it's not so much about clean air. It's about getting out away from where everything is going to be going on, and that's going to be mid-pack and back, in my opinion. So definitely going to see drivers vie for track position. They're going to do that early on, which is going to definitely, increase the propensity for caution. So we'll be watching that here is qualifying is still underway. Matt DeCiani still having the fastest time by quite a margin. Patrick Gitter slipped in with a 19.107. And that's going to best Brandon Pasalakwa's 19.141. Good to see that the majority of the field is actually sub 2-0. We'll see how those lap times actually hold up here. Not a lot of folks out. Looks like we kind of got looks almost like a pandemic crowd. But that'll probably pick up too as we get the roll on.
I keep my fans in the grandstands turned down pretty low too, because I'm just constantly pretending that I'm still in 2020 over here.
Yeah, you got to really. Yeah, we're going to step away here, get our national anthem, and we will be back with tonight's coverage of the Goodies 250.
Race fans, it is time for those most famous words in motorsports.
Drivers, start your engines!
And we are back. Tonight got gridding underway. Star Spangled Banner in the books. Let's go ahead and run through the gridding order. Your pole sitter tonight, Matt DeCiani in the number 1 car. He's got Patrick Gitter starting beside him along in P2. P3 is going to be Brandon Pasalakwa. Randy Mullins coming off in 4th. 5th place is going to show you Joey Freebie. He has Paul Hill the second on his side in 6th. 7th place, we got John Bender with Vincent Crowe in the 47 car in 8th place. 9th place, Kenny Howell alongside his G&G teammate Greg Wachinski. Rounding out the top 10.
Chris Cosby with Delinka starting his outside in 12th. 13th is going to be J.C. Evans with Alexander Carr in 14th. Starting 15th is going to be Nick King with Tim Wortman Jr., one of our drivers with the onboard. Starting 16th, that'll be fun to keep up with. 17th position starting out is going to be Kevin Zosiak with Derek Heitman in 18th. 19th position going to be Chuck Burley, and running at your top 20 is going to be Jerry Walters.
That's going to put Randy Belk in 21st with Brian Johnson and the Paradigm team in 22nd. 23rd position is going to show you Dave Hughes Jr. with Josh Schaffner from the Paradigm team in 24th. 25th position rolls out with Jeremy Clapper-Newell, and he has Randy Drumhiller to his outside in 26th. 27th position is going to be Mark Sanchez with Jose Medina in 28th. And rounding out the top 30 is going to be Greg Carr in 29th with Jay Honey in 30th.
And running out your 32 car field this evening, it's going to be David Gervais starting 31st without a time, and 32nd is going to be Jason Hand.
Speaking of hands, I think these guys are going to have their hands full. Got a lot of drivers that are kind of like in the back. It looks a little different here. So we'll let you go ahead and handle it here from now on, Sheldon, as you take us to get us ready for green. I don't know, man. I'm hoping we don't. I'm hoping we don't have the ball up in the turn one.
No, I'm praying that we don't, and I dread it for some of these guys too. Some of the guys starting a little bit further in the back, not a track that they're necessarily comfortable with. Martinsville is one of those places that it has an affinity. It can either be somebody's favorite place in the circuit, or it can be just something that you grit your teeth and close your eyes and pray you make it through all right. And for those guys on the latter half of that is the most dreadful thing to come here when you just don't have that rhythm, you don't have that feel, what it takes to really get up there to the front. It's 250 laps of trying to figure out what the hell you're doing wrong and being completely blind every step of the way. And I've been on that side of the fence. I've been on the top side of the fence. And old Martinsville, it'll find a way to humble you too, somewhere along the lines.
Definitely one thing drivers are going to have to be really cognizant of is if you're in the back towards turn 3 and 4, especially turn 4 on the restart, you have to watch where you actually start to accelerate, because these cars, they don't like to stick in a turn.
No, and got to factor that in too with the fact that the brakes I've personally found a little more tricky with the next gen car, the Gen 7, as opposed to the Gen 6 we had back in the day.
Well, yeah, do elaborate. Have you actually had an opportunity to do any racing here this week?
Not this week, but I ran a bunch here back in the fall. And, I mean, it's Martinsville, man. Not much really changes when it comes to this place. It still rewards the same things that it always has.
Yeah, we're coming off of a couple major updates, in my opinion, so we'll definitely be able to talk to the drivers as we go through this thing and kind of see how those updates are impacting their performance on the track. I know we did have the latest one that came just a couple of days ago. So, I mean, I don't know. At some point, I do believe the changes are actually going to affect the handling of the cars. That's just my opinion.
I'm hoping so. We saw a great product at Homestead last week with all the changes that they made then, and I'm excited to see what it brings forth the short tracks here.
Yeah, and indeed, and if you did not catch that race, please go. It's available on YouTube. All of these races are available if you can't watch them live, but you just got to like and subscribe. That way you get all of the available content coming in on the ISCA here Cup Series. And I'm going to tell you, this series has actually grown quite a bit over the last 2 or 3 years. This year, can you believe 32 cars starting at Martinsville or short track?
I can't believe it, man. I've seen bigger leagues, well-loved, reputable, huge leagues struggle to make a 25-car field show up here for these short tracks. So whatever Kenny's doing up there, man, he's doing a great job of it, because the love for short track racing is going strong here tonight.
Oh, shucks. I was hoping that you were going to say that everybody was tuning in because Sheldon, Big Al, and old Joe Coco up here.
Oh, yeah, that's part of it, too. I mean, we're the dream team, ain't we?
The dream team, there you go. Going to get this thing going pretty soon. Tonight's going to be a great one, so go ahead and sit down, buckle in, strap in, buckle up, whatever it is you got to do, whatever your preference, your order is, and I'm going to tell you, you got to get ready because this one is going to be a rough one, especially for the drivers. If you saw on your screen earlier, we had Kenny Powell as well as Tim Wortman Jr., and we'll be watching those guys as this thing goes on because this is going to be an endurance race for the drivers as well as a test of their patience.
Yeah, you're going to see a lot of patience just get tested here, and you're going to see a lot of feathers get ruffled. We also, we had a good amount of drama last week at Homestead amongst a handful of drivers, and I'm curious to see if that finds its way bleeding over into our Goody's 250 this evening.
Well, Sheldon, what on earth ever do you mean?
Well, I don't know how concise and poignant I can be up here. Different leagues have different feelings about it, but we saw a couple guys hammering at each other multiple times last week, and radio commentary between those fellas was not the most concise. If we see it boil over this evening, I'll be sure to call it out, but some of them guys are starting up here towards the front, not too far apart from each other.
Yeah, you definitely called it out last week, and you're right. Those things do carry over early in the season, and for drivers to actually start to show their tempers develop, their personalities develop. That's something completely different. But we'll be watching this as Joey Preby actually pulls that 87 machine down to the inside. Looks like he's going to be serving an end of the line penalty for his actions last week. Hopefully he can. Hopefully cooler heads will prevail.
I think we may have just circled it before we even started there. We got a long way to go and a lot of time to get there, but a lot of ways that can go wrong too here at Martinsville. Matt DeCiani and Patrick Gitter leading this field, though. I mean, water's wet and DeCiani and Patrick Gitter are fast. Feels like the story every week. But I really think one I'm going to keep my eyes on tonight the most. I'm going to keep my eyes on that 6 machine at Passalacqua. Seen how fast that cat is at road courses, and there's something about those road course aces coming to tracks like Martinsville and Phoenix and New Hampshire and just absolutely having the field dogged. The lights are out on the iRacing pace cars who work their way down the back straightaway into turn number 3. Field doubled up in the hands of Matt DeCiani and Patrick Gitter as we come through 3 and 4, slowly working our way to the Geico restart zone. Barney, the flagman, has the flag in hand. And the green flag is out. We're underway for the Goody's 250 here at Martinsville.
Matt DeCiani wasted no time actually getting off to a great start. He actually bested Patrick Gitter, which is hard to do. But it looks like up front we're starting to get single foul. But as it goes back further to the back, contact between the 12 and the 37, they're going to get it okay as the 18 of Algena's car is going to stay high here coming into turn 1.
Alex Carr working the outside line, slowly dropping his way in behind the 12 machine of Nick King. Clear move for him. Here comes the 37 with a little bit of a lawn dart, but backing it down enough to keep out of the back of the 18 machine. But on the outside, Derek Heitman trying to make up a bunch of spots here real quick in that 76 machine. Uncharacteristic of him to start this far in the pack. I mean, see how he shakes his way through it.
Yeah, not where he starts, though. It's definitely going to be about where he finishes. And tonight, the 76 cannot afford to have another bad finish.
Big slide out of Alex Carr coming out of turn 4. I don't know if he picked it up on camera, but just about looped it. The classic Martinsville Hospital hop coming out of 2 and 4. Just about bit the back of the, just about bit the TBR machine on the back end there.
And that'll be exactly what I was talking about. Is how these cars don't like to turn. And on the restarts, once you're mid-pack or back, you're going to be starting in that bend.
Yeah, no, this is one of those places where snap oversteer is a huge thing these guys are going to have to worry about. And basically what that translates down to is you get the car into the corner, it's, as tight as it possibly gets. You're trying to put as much wheel into it as possible to get the thing to actually set and rotate. You don't notice how much you've got cranked into it until you get on the straightaway and the back end of the car unloads, and it just yanks you right around. But we got a caution car right
we got a caution coming out right now. Going to take a look at that, the 33 car. Randy Belk, he's not having a good night already. Going to follow this on the replay. Take a look, see what exactly occurred. Was it what you were referring to?
Not quite. He was trying to get by Walters. Got a little tight on him there, and Walters didn't really have anywhere to go. And
not really a major incident here. All drivers are going to get away, and thank goodness these cars are actually built a little tougher, I think, on the short tracks than they are on the super speedways. It seems that they're actually capable of taking a better beating, if you will.
And looking at that incident too on the from the Goodyear blimp, looking down at the 33 machine of Belk as he got into the side of the 63 machine, it didn't really look like they made any contact. It just looked like an unfortunate circumstance of netcode.
Yeah, I agree. Just an unfortunate set of circumstances that Clauson's out for the first time. I think Barney's not going to be leaving the flag stand tonight. He is definitely going to be on call, on cue. He has to be, because short track racing, that's what you get here in your home state of Virginia, nonetheless.
Yeah, I'd say about 4.5, maybe 5 hours away at the most. Been by the Speedway once, a long time ago. I was a wee little kid. But we got family out that way, so we rolled past Martinsville and got a good look at the Wood Brothers shop too up in Stewart that same week, because we decided to just kind of tour the parts of VA that we don't spend much time in.
Shout out to your family down there in Virginia. Can I ask a question now about Virginia?
Yeah, man.
Is it really for lovers? I mean, I'm just saying. I've heard that. I've seen it on a race car. But I've been to Virginia, and I got to ask you, since you live there, is it really for lovers?
I'll tell you, saying Virginia is for lovers is like, well, I'm not gonna get myself in trouble here, but not a whole lot of love in this state these days, unfortunately. Not in parts I've seen, but here we are, loaded up side by side here, coming to the first restart of the evening. Matt DeCiani leading him down the bottom again. Vector Gator to the outside. DeCiani with a good clean launch. The green flag is in the air, down into turn number 1. They all chase after the 1 machine.
Matt DeCiani wasting no time again, showing himself up front, and that's exactly where he's going to want to be. Up front seems to be single file, but in the back again, we are double going into the turns. Everybody trying to figure out where they fit in, and nobody wanting to yield.
You saw right there John Bender throwing the front bumper to the back of the 54 machine of Randy Mullins already. Trying anything he can to do to get clear of Paul Hill. Here comes Paul Hill with a little bit of a shot to the back of the 23 machine. But he gets off the corner nice and clean. A little bit further back in the pack, we're watching Greg Wachinski.
Yeah, that's a new paint scheme for the 5-car Greg Wachinski. Going in all black. I like it, Greg. It kind of fits you.
That's a good look. A little bit of almost 3 wide. The 37 machine dives down to the inside of the 18. Not able to get to the quarter panel, though. And here comes Preview. Oh, we got one around. Good save.
That was going to be a little sporty. Was that Greg Wachinski that spun there? No, that was the 9 of J.C. Evans. Let's see, we're going to look at J.C. here, follow him, and see exactly what took place on the replay.
Let's give a big old round of applause for J.C. because that thing was absolutely hooking to that inside wall. Great job locking it down, keeping it straight.
Oh, and right behind him, there was another black and red car that absolutely tagged the wall. I don't know which car that was, but if you could go back, Jose Medina, exactly it was, because I'm watching the 33 of Randy Belk as well as the 48 of Jose Medina. And these guys are in the leader's eyesight right now. He is slowly starting to see them on the straights, which means we're going to have lap traffic here sooner than later. Also watching live now.
No, Paul Hill up in the fence.
Having Paul Hill pulling a little bit of a, what's the number one driver's name? The Watermelon Man.
Oh, Ross Chastain, the Hail Melon.
A little bit of a Ross Chastain there.
But look at this. We are only 17 laps into this thing. Look who has worked himself into the 12th position already. Joey Prevey is on a mission right now to get back up to the front.
Yeah, and there's another driver that's on a different type of mission, and that looks like it's going to be Paul Hill as he is coming down way too soon to be on pit road, and this is definitely probably going to put a big dent in their plans here tonight as once you he laps down. That's all we can say about that one. We'll monitor that team's progress.
I want it back here. What you're looking at is, I'm pretty sure, a massively bent toe. You see the hard smack against the wall, and you saw him kind of crab walking, limping down pit road. He tore something up in that right front of that 26 machine. Really tough break as Paul Hill looked like he had a fast hot rod this evening.
Yeah, definitely. Like we said, we'll be monitoring Paul Hill, see if those guys will actually be able to get that car behind the wall, get that damage fixed, and get back out here. But back to the racing surface, looks like we're starting to get there's a break. The field is actually looking like oil and water. It's starting to break up a lot of it. You got their guys up front that seem to be running an excruciatingly fast pace, and then you got mid-pack and back, which just seems to be kind of at a way more leisurely pace. Where are you at? Are you a front runner? Are you a mid down? What are you doing this phase of the race here? Talk us through it. Take the people home, and we'll still watch the race here. But what are you doing stage one here?
Stage one at Martinsville, you do the same thing you do at every lap at Martinsville. Same thing you try to do at the super speedways. You just try to get to that front. You try to stay there as best you can. You try to be, if not the leader, inside of the leader well enough. So we got a wreck on the front straightaway.
Caution out for the second time here tonight, as we will definitely be watching to see what transpired to bring out the caution. Still waiting to see how this one comes in. For those of you at home that are watching us, please like, subscribe, stay up on all the latest. Still haven't seen exactly what car it was as we were watching.
Looks to me like a 45 machine of Bacon Zelenka went for a lazy slide.
Yeah, Bacon sporting that name and tell paint scheme. And that might have been exactly what you were talking about, where the tail end of these things just kind of, it snaps on you. And you know, I was thinking in my mind, I was going to translate. It's like, you know, you got this one dude and you and him are real tight, like he's your dude. And then, you know, you step into a bad neighborhood and you look and he gone. That's what the tail end does to you. And it feels just like that. It leaves you out there looking, about to get beat up. How about that? Probably not the translation you're looking for.
Yeah, it looks like he got a little bit of a bobble coming through 3 and 4. And just gets up a little bit of contact with the 4 machine and de-wedges the car to the point where it just comes right around on him.
Yeah, he took multiple shots on that 45 machine as well. He's still clean the green, not showing any damage, not showing a repairs required flag.
Lucky
like
break for him.
Yeah, looks like the lights are getting ready to go off on the pace car here. We'll be doubling up again, getting ready. And I do believe that was our second caution of the night. Those cautions early. I mean, we're just not quite halfway through stage one, and we're already on the counter for 2 cautions.
That's Martinsville for you.
Yeah, a little overcast out there today, too. That's definitely going to be affecting the track temperature.
Yeah, these guys got more grip than they know what to do with, but that grip, big problem is you see them working side by side here through 3 and 4, getting ready to come to the green flag into the Geico restart zone. Flag is in the hand, and Matt DiCiani is taking it away with Patrick Garrett to the outside. Gitter ducks down in front of Pasalakwa into turn number 1. All clean up here for the top 5.
Track position seeming to be the number one thing up front as you watch those guys wasting no time getting in line further back. Guys fighting and vying for track position seem to keep it doubled up a little bit longer. Watching the 78, he comes in, gets into the back of the 87 of Prevey. Just a little love tap. Prevey drives off.
Maybe working the outside line, trying to get past the boss man himself, Kenny Powell, down there on the bottom of the 24 machine. A little bit of a slide up the track, going to open the door for Prevey. Prevey getting a really good launch down the front straight when he's going to clear Kenny Powell into turn number 1.
Yeah, and actually, if we can do a ride along with one of the drivers here, I would like to be able to see if everybody's shifting, because shifting is something that's going to be done at this track. Guys are going to be going from 4th gear to 3rd gear. We're riding along with Kenny Powell, the boss. You see he shifts right there in the 4th, coming into 1, shifting down in the 3rd gear. So that answers that question. It's a shifting set. So that just adds another level of complexity here for the drivers as you see the smoke coming from, I believe, the 45 car in front of Kenny Powell. Actually, that was the 37 of Vincent Crowe.
47. Vincent Crowe struggling. Here comes Prevey right to the back bumper again. Taking no prisoners as he works his way through the field here. Up to the 7th position now. Sorry, make that the 6th position as he gets by Randy Mullins, but still hot to the tail of Vincent Crowe. Not the mane, just the tail.
And Prevey actually qualified.
Oh, we got a yellow.
Caution's out again, 3rd time. We're going to be trying to track that down to see what I think.
Oh, and Mullins contact with Prevey under caution. And the wreck is still in front of him.
Man, that's Andrew Carter.
No, and around goes Mullins off the bumper of Prevey.
Well, why are we still wrecking? We're definitely a lot to unpack there.
Now there was contact between Mullins and Prevey a little bit earlier. Let me get a beat on it. See if I can't get the lap figured out on that. All right, we're watching it back. Watching it back, lap 31 going into 3 and 4. Prevey sends a... That is huge. Also, if we can, get the camera on lap 31, 3 and 4, put it on Prevey. Because that's going to show what happened between him and Mullins. There's the post caution contact. And these two beat up on each other pretty bad here for a little bit after this too. See Prevey send the 54 machine around.
Well, unfortunately, I will go ahead and say this. Just there is a thing here, that we have in the ISCA, and I think that might actually earn the 87. I think he's going to earn a couple weeks behind the wall. So not a good look for him tonight, man. And like you said, this guy, he qualified in 5th, took an end of line penalty, clawed his way all the way back up to 6th.
Before we go green here, I do want to say the incident that caused Mullins to be mad at Prevey was Prevey using up the back of the 47 machine of Vincent Crowe and slamming him into Mullins. Mullins is starting right behind Prevey, and Vincent Crowe is starting on the bottom. It's not going to be an easy restart here, so I'd like to keep a camera pointed at that as our race leaders take us to the Geico restart zone here. Coming to lap 38. Flag is in the hand of Barney the Flagman. Into the Geico restart zone. Green flag is out. Huge contact already from the 54 machine. And Mullins coming down the front straightaway. Are they going to use him up?
Well, it's giving him plenty of room. It looks like the 87's definitely, he's ready to race as he dives down to the inside of Bender. Giving chase to the 45.
Down to the inside of John Bender comes Freebie. Caution is out. Wreck further in the pack.
Guys, we are wearing it out. Still.
I think Clapper Newell got in that one.
Let me see.
I do believe that Clapper Newell was in that one.
Still over 10 laps to go in stage 1, and we're already sitting on 4 cautions. So, pack your patience tonight, ladies and gentlemen.
Oh, that is the big one at Martinsville right there. A couple cars ahead. I can't see who that is. And sorry about some of the issues here with the replays, guys. We are, for whatever reason, not getting any data on incidents on the speedway. Make it a little bit harder for Kobe up here to do his job, but doing a great job as usual, regardless of the difficulties. It's going to be like the 88 machine right there. I can't quite tell the number of the machine in front of him. He's going to dive down to the bottom, and I just don't think that he thought he was there. And round goes the 7 machine right up into the 20, and a huge stack up behind him. And that's just a classic Martinsville incident. Somebody goes and takes a dive down to the bottom, and you just misjudge it a little bit. Don't have that mirror quite calculated. The spotter hasn't called it because you're only there for, maybe a 16th of a second. But by the time the spotter reads out car inside, you're already backed up into the wall. We got a handful of guys on pit road right now.
Yeah, indeed, and it makes sense. Going to be a big deal here once we get into the end of stage 2, because that's when that fuel's going to matter. And I think with the amount of cautions that we're seeing here, honestly, we're probably not going to get a long green flag run. I don't know what it's going to take, but I mean, maybe guys should have took a couple shots this morning. Lights off on the pace car. Time to double them up again. Matt DeCiani's been getting some power starts, and immediately off the line going into 1, and you see Patrick Gitter getting right down, and then probably the top 5-6 cars are doing the same. Like, these guys are definitely, I think they're just trying to get a run going.
That's the joy of these restarts here at Martinsville. If you're up in that front row, you're pretty much set. If you're up there with a teammate, you're guaranteed a good shot into the first corner at least. But working their way through 3 and 4 here into the Geico restart zone. 43 laps on the board now, and Matt DeCiani is going to take us back to green, and we are back under the way into the Goody's 250. Good clean start for DeCiani as he gets a good bit of separation between him and second place Passalacqua down to the inside of Patrick Gitter down the back straightaway. But Gitter using that outside line to kind of pull ahead.
Wow, the 12 car making consistent contact with the 24, and unfortunately looked like he got a little bit
the 78, huge lock up.
No cost though. Green flag racing continues.
Freebie showing the bumper to the back of the 47 machine of Vincent Crow again. Here he goes, a huge shot into turn number 1. Won't get him a second time, not quite. He's got Mullins down to the inside. Mullins, a little bit of contact slid up into him. And Mullins going to send him right into the corner and take Vincent Crow along with him. Freebie. And here comes Freebie.
Yep. This is what you came to see, ladies and gentlemen. You're gonna see it, and this is gonna be interesting here as the attack continues in front of Kenny Powell. Probably not the smartest place to fight, because Kenny's like the daddy here, and so if you want to trip behind the wall, just keep doing what you're doing. Unfortunate for the
Let's watch it back.
Randy Mullins severely punted him.
Yeah, that was
Yeah, and the
What you're-
47
what you-
just unfortunately collected in that.
What you're looking here is you got a lot of guys who have been very highly strung here. And
They're still going at it.
Mullins was not fond of how he got driven there. Probably wasn't fond of how he got driven earlier. And the two of them are just
Well, you know
struggling
what?
with their attitudes tonight.
Since we're having so much fun here, I'm
Also,
gonna pull.
Freebie just parked it on the front straightaway
Well, you know
in
what?
front
I'm
of
gonna pull.
Mullins.
Who do you want to pull in? You want to pull in Randy Mullins?
I think we'd probably be best to not pull either one of them two up there because they are
You
They're-
know,
pleading their cases and fighting right now in the driver comps.
okay. Yeah, it's safe to assume that we won't see that car here for a while. So, if you're fans of that car number, take pictures, even record this video. That's because this is definitely going to be one for the books. Getting it sorted out here. Lights are off on the pace car. Time to double them up. 1 to green. And just like that, guys, five cautions here. We got
Remember how
3 to go.
Remember how I was talking about them tempers there at the start of this thing, man? We just watched them boil over.
There's no way that, and we'll talk about this after we go green, but there's no way that did not pre-exist.
No, it absolutely. I feel like it absolutely did. But pace car diving down pit road. We'll get back to speculation here in a minute because what we see in front of us is factual right now is Matt DiCiani leading Gitter. It's you can just copy paste that audio and that'd be the rest of the night. But the green flag is in the air. DiCiani leading him down into turn number 1. Here comes Gitter tucking in. Better restart for the 21 machine. All's fine and well now as we work our way down the back straightaway. Clean racing up here at the front. Single file again at the front of the pack. Kenny Powell working his way up into the 4th position here. A strong run for that 24 machine here at Martinsville.
Yeah, definitely. Kenny's going to be wanting to have a solid day here. Everybody, there's so many drivers that need to have a solid day, and you're almost remiss because we're still here coming to the end of stage 1. White flags out for the stage.
Now here's the question: does Patrick Gitter have anything for the one machine at DiCiani, or has he slipped too far out of his clutches? Gitter going to send a deep dive out into turn number 3, but not able to get to the back bumper out of turn number 4. Matt DiCiani is going to bring home stage 1 with Patrick Gitter and Brandon Pasalacqua in tow. Stage yellow is on the speedway.
With stage 1 in the books, your stage 1 winner, Matt DiCiani. Patrick Gitter coming in 2nd. Brandon Pasalacqua 3rd. Kenny Powell in 4th. Derek Heitman 5th. John Bender 6th. 7th place, Nick King. 8th place, Randy Mullins. 9th place, Greg Wachinski and Brian Johnson rounds out the top 10. With stage 1 in the books, we're going to take a step away, and we'll be right back with the continued coverage of stage 2.
Ow. Ew. Ow. Ew.
Want relief from tough pain without the tough taste? Try Goody's Cool Orange. Goody's fast, Goody's delicious, because pain relief shouldn't be a pain to take. Goody's flavors, taking the pain out of pain relief.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head to head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
And we are back with continuing coverage of the night. It's Goody's Headache 250, and I'm definitely, I'm a contender for that headache. I don't know about yourself.
Yeah, I could definitely use some of that Goody's Headache powder right now myself after some of the things we've seen here on the Speedway, but stage 1 in the books. Here's hoping that we kind of clean the slate here to finish this thing off. Currently in the lead is going to be Wortman Jr. with Crosby to his outside. A couple guys staying out, trying to maximize on track position here.
Yeah, actually seeing the 83 of Tim Wortman Jr., and we're watching his heart rate here. This is the first leader we've had other than Matt DeCiani since we started this thing, so.
Looking calm, cool, and collected, sitting there in that 83 machine as they work themselves out of turn number 4 to the flag here. Green flag is in the air, but the 78 gets a big launch, but here comes the 83 of Wortman. Here's the question, does the 78 get a penalty for that? Three wide, a little bit further back, clearing itself out. 2 wide now. Dave Fuge to the inside of Crosby coming out of turn number 4. Here comes another 3 wide move. Here comes Gitter with a deep dive bomb into turn number 1. And a lockup for the 78 machine.
No black flag for the 78, so he was actually cleared. But look at the lead. The Tim Wortman Jr. is actually starting to develop here.
Patrick Gitter versus Crosby down at turn number 1. Gitter all over the back bumper of the 78 machine, working themselves out of turn number 2. Crosby with the advantage, but here comes Gitter with another dive to the inside, trying to force him to be defensive. Crosby slides up the track, a little bit of a lockup here. And here comes Patrick Gitter, easy as cake, going to take second place.
Yeah, both Wortman and Crosby actually on a different pit cycle, so that's the reason why they were up front. But Patrick Gitter actually showing Crosby that, hey, look, I think you're kind of in my way. And now Matt DeCiani shows he puts the nose of the number 1 to the inside as he continues his march back up to the front.
Junior in the lead right now, but pressure is not off. Gitter with a fast, hot rod behind him. Looking a little bit further back, we're looking at Bender going side by side with Kenny Powell, the 23 and 24, diving into turn number 3. Here comes Bender, though, with the advantage. Good, clean corner. Great job rotating the center. He's going to get the spot, but here comes Kenny Powell, not going to give up, diving back down to the bottom, trying to fake him out.
Green flag racing continues for what appears to be the longest segment that we've had thus far is now Kenny Powell on the bottom right-hand corner of the screen. As we're watching him as he continues his quest, battling deep for his top 10 position there against the 23 of John Bender.
Yeah, he's got a good machine under him this week. He's been up there making some pretty impressive moves tonight. Good runs for that 24.
Yeah, that 22 car getting a little sticky there. He now finds himself alongside the 54, Randy Mullins. With his with his Paradigm teammate in tow, that's the 4-car Brian Johnson. I didn't talk about the Paradigm guys this year.
Yeah, no, we've talked about a few of them pretty frequently. I'll tell you what, the 54 of Mullins looks a lot calmer here all of a sudden.
Big problems on the dance floor. No caution. Gonna have to find that to figure out what just took place. I see the 87 car.
Oh, it looks like is that Vincent? No, it's the 63 machine of Walters. Oh, also, we totally just missed it. Patrick Gitter is now your race leader. See what happened to Walters here. I think it's just going to be that slide coming out of the corner exit. It's a little too much wheel bound up in the machine. We got a caution on the speedway right now, though. Looks like Medina got turned around.
Yeah, Jose Medina was already having... Oh, wow. 22 makes contact with the 4. I'm not sure what that was about. Definitely didn't seem to be a love tap.
Jose's claiming it was a self-spin, by the way.
Yeah, that 48 car struggled the last couple of weeks here. Hopefully that team can actually kind of pull it together. and get the cobwebs out
Good
of
God,
there.
look at Barney. He's beating that flag to pieces.
Barney's
Oh,
been
man.
prepared for this race for quite some time here. Teams. That's what we're looking for here tonight. It looks like Gitter and DeCiani up to the front of this thing. That's actually going to look good for Fortis Motorsports. Then we got Tim Wortman Jr. He's shown for Warrior Racing. That's going to give a good shout out for those guys. Good look for the guys over at Warrior. Then Brandon Pasalacqua. He's going to be repping Paradigm. Those guys going to be getting a good shout out. The 76 of Derek Heitman. Derek Heitman is on. I will notice by heart, but we've had some shakeups here in the teams. As a matter of fact, I do believe this year, first year, that the team sizes are limited to 3 for the races. So you have teams that actually have more than 3 drivers. But when it comes to racing, only 3 can actually be on one team. Have you actually done any team racing? And you know, if so, what are your thoughts on it?
Well, I've pretty much always worked with teams. Spent a good amount of time with Pinnacle Racing Group there for a while. Then One Simmon. Honestly, team racing is great, man. The amount of stuff that you guys can accomplish together as a group, and get the right guys together and have the right headset. I mean, you're looking at right now with these Force guys up at the front. That's just sharing notes and working hard with a group of guys that you get along with. But base car diving down pit road here into 3. Patrick Gitter going to lead him back into turn 1 here. Matt DeCiani is outside, 3rd place. Brandon Pasalacqua out of turn number 4 into the Geico restart zone. Green flag is out. Gitter has got it underway. And a good clean start for him. It's going to be all safe into turn number 1.
6 getting it done. We got the 78 fighting the 24. That's where the break is. That's where everybody is trying to get down low to get that line 78 car. Looking to see if he can come inside. Gets it done now. Nope, looks back out to the outside. It's going to try advancement over the 24.
Oh, just misses the corner. The 78 all the way up against the fence. Really having a hard time with the braking on that machine.
And that's why we call it. Oh, sorry. Yeah, for those of you.
Oh, we got one
There
around.
was a car under the wall.
Is that Fuge?
That's not good.
Sure is. See what happened here, right behind the bout we were watching. I just don't think he saw the 19 machine down there to his bottom.
Yeah, they hate to see that. Dave Fuge Jr. representing Mad Spartan Sim Racing. Hopefully they'll be able to get that horse straightened out and get back into it as well.
I got to cover him the other night. Right over there in SSRL.
You know, I'm starting to think I should have doubled my count of cautions. Anyway.
Yeah, what are we at now?
I digress. Right now we're sitting at 7 due to cause. 1 stage caution.
No, I knew I was going to win the caution count. I should have gone more aggressive. I just don't want to make anybody feel bad.
Looks like it's going to be 10 to go at the stage here once the green flag comes back out. Stage is starting to fly by, though. Tonight, looks like that sun's going down, and the Dukes have been out since the green flag came out. It appears that everybody here came in angry and ready to fight. Those fights starting to dissipate a little bit. I'm just waiting on the racing to start.
You Might be a while based on what we're seeing right now.
It's like I went to a fight and a race broke out.
No, the one thing I know, it doesn't matter who you bring to the track for Martinsville. It's always chaotic. And I said it the other night in SSRL, my broadcast over there. It just it comes down to iRacing. What it does best with is the 1.5 mile stuff, the 2 mile tracks. You know, not necessarily the super speedways. Does a great job at that. And when you come to these short tracks where you have the beating and banging, you know, the close quarters racing, surrounded by 30 cars all race long, the predictive code, the net code, doesn't really do a good job of conveying actual contact, and it kind of just makes it miserable for all of us.
So that's what you're going to put it on. I like what you did there.
No,
green flags out.
Racing. Flags in the air. Gator gets a good launch into turn number 1. DeCiani going to tuck right back in tow past Alacqua, staying down there in the 3rd position. It's like everybody's going to make their 1 and 2 clean. Don't tell me that. That never works here.
I mean, yeah, especially when it's for 13th place. You know, you just look away and you don't want to call that. But still bottled up there towards mid-back pack. Drivers not wanting to settle down at all. Side-by-side racing continues as we got the Donna J.C. Evans still pushing that 78 car to the outside, or shall we say the 38 car.
Yeah, you gotta be careful there. That 78-38 machine, he's really struggling with his corner entry. This looks like that car is so tight coming in the corner, but we got a caution out again.
Caution's out again. Heck yeah, let's just throw it.
37 machine doing burnouts here on the back straightaway to get it looped back around. Let's see what happened here. That's 3 wide at Martinsville. Can't say much more than that.
That's Kevin Zosiak in that number 37 car. Kevin, you know, actually they had a good run, started this thing off in 17th, but yeah, they just kind of been towards the back of the pack here, but hopefully they'll be able to maybe get the dust knocked off the 37, get it back out here.
Let's see if we bring that machine down pit road here.
5-0 Josh Schaffner and the 4 Brian Johnson, teammates from Paradigm. Those 2 guys down on pit road. Not sure what's going on. Is that strategy? Little team strategy going on there, you think?
Yeah, stage ending in 5 laps here. Imagine they're coming down, getting a top off on fuel, 4 fresh tires, and setting themselves up to leapfrog their way to the front of the pack here.
Interesting play. I mean, I think the cautions are going to be there, and so they will definitely be able to save fuel. What we've seen so far, I really don't think we've ran enough consistent laps for anyone to be able to have any significant fuel data. I imagine teams are probably utilizing the data they would have got from the 8 open races this week. Now, a lot of teams have been down. Pace car lights are out.
I promise you they weren't able to pull fuel mileage from those either this week.
Yeah, so this is truly like traffic on 95. There were 64 in Virginia, right?
Absolutely. Right at a shipyard clock out. That shipyard traffic is a nightmare around here.
Yeah, I know. Anybody that's been in Virginia knows exactly what you're talking about.
They'll run their own moms over just to get home 5 minutes sooner. But pace car diving in. Getting ready to go green here for a shootout to the 2nd stage. Patrick Gitter leading him out turn number 4 into the box, and the green flag is in the air. There goes Barty in the background again for what feels like the 50th time today.
Still watching Mr. Wortman. His heart rate on the rise. Not as cool and calm as he was, as now he's all the way up to 125. Really appreciate Tim Wortman Jr. for actually allowing us to ride along with him.
Up there working that outside line with just a handful of laps on the stage. That'll get you going, too. He's just praying that Kenny can hold it straight down there on the bottom. And here comes Wortman trying to get to the back bumper of the 54 machine of Mullins. Trying to get him squared up a little bit. White flag for the stage here. Wortman trying to go a little bit higher. Not able to make anything materialize, though. And into turn 3 for the final time in stage 1. Patrick Goody going to lead him out turn number 4 and get himself a stage here. Followed by Matt DiCiani, Brandon Passalacqua, Derek Heitman, and Randy Mullins with a good recovery up to 5th.
And just like that, stage 2 in the books. Patrick Gitter, your stage 2 winner. Matt DiCiani in 2nd. Brandon Passalacqua 3rd. Derek Heitman comes in 4th. Randy Mullins 5th. Tim Wortman Jr. in 6th. 7th place shows Kenny Powell. 8th, Nick Keene. 9th, Jay Hone in 10th. Running up the top 10. Big shout out to Greg Wachinski. With stage 2 in the books, we are going to step away again, get another word from our sponsors. And ladies and gentlemen, we'll be back with the 3rd and final stage of the night's coverage of the Goodies Headache 250.
Ow. Ew. Ow. Ew.
Want relief from tough pain without the tough taste? Try Goody's Cool Orange. Goody's fast, Goody's delicious. Because pain relief shouldn't be a pain to take. Goody's flavors, taking the pain out of pain relief.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
And we are back just like that. Lights off on the pace car, getting ready to get back into our 3rd and final stage of the night's race here. I am Big Al, joined in the booth by none other than Mr. Sheldon Atkins. And down behind the scenes, we got our main man, Kobe Jordan.
Dave Hughes Jr. leading the field to the green flag here out of turn number 4. Brian Johnson is outside, and green flag is in the air for Dave Hughes Jr. Good launch for the 22 ESC machine.
Not so good launch for the top row. Top row definitely not getting launched off well at all. These drivers now really struggling trying to put it back together.
This 37, huge contact to the back of the 22 machine of Fuge. Going to choke up the 37 machine on the bottom, and here comes the 4. Brian Johnson trying to lip the outside to get to the 22. Oh, and Johnson loose.
Derek Heitman Jr. coming down underneath the 5-0 of Josh Schaffner. Heitman's going to get it done. That pass is going to be in the books. Further up, we got Brian Johnson for Paradigm. He is alongside the 37 of Kevin Zosiak. These two jockeying for
Oh, Johnson gets turned off the bumper of Zosiak into 3.
Oh,
and huge contact from the 29.
Yeah, not good.
That looked like that contact from the 29 machine hit square into the left front tire. I would not be surprised if Johnson had some heavy damage after that.
Not showing any damage, but I am showing John Bender with a black flag. We'll see if that's actually cleared.
See if we can't get it on board here as he tries to wheel it away. I want to see if he's crabbing. Because it won't always meatball you if you're crab walking. Oh, yeah. That is terminal right there.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, you're looking at that red stripe right there on the steering wheel. That should be top dead center or maybe 3 degrees left or right, but never all the way over at 15 or 45 over.
Yeah, that right there, it won't. iRacing won't always show that as a meatball unless you have like components actually broken off the car. But look at that. Look at how much it's skewed in. That's going to be a race ender for the 4 machine because there's no way they're going to be able to pull that tow line back out.
And then you're talking about at least 7 minutes of repairs. So yeah, they could come back out for point's sake or good sake. But yeah, I do agree. I think that might be a little bit more than those guys are equipped to handle here on pit lane.
Tough break for Johnson.
Speaking of brakes, look at that lucky dog. Looks like 24 car is going to be the lucky dog, Kenny Powell.
Oh, I thought you were going to make an ARCA brakes joke to lead in.
Well, we could do that. I was going to ask you if you were, what you were doing tomorrow night. If you, maybe had on some racing gloves or some.
No, it might be a. We sitting down with
We're not live.
Sitting down with our buddy Kobe's new league, the ARCA Spark series. A little bit of ARCA breaking. They're kicking it off tomorrow night here on YouTube at Dover, which is a great place for the ARCA cars. Really excited to see how the new package shakes itself out there. But here we are, pace car in pit road. 22 machine, Dave Fuge Jr. leading him back to the line with Zodiac to the outside. Green flag is in the air. Dave Fuge with a good launch, but Zodiac matching it. And here comes Garrett to the back bumper, the 22 machine of Fuge.
Yeah, Dave Fuge Jr. definitely being scored on a lot older equipment than than Gitter and the rest of the gang. You also have Kevin Zodiac up there with almost 20 laps on his tires, so we're going to see how this thing shakes itself out, but it's going to have to do something here quick. As we're going too wide here into turn 2. Sorry, it's turn 4.
Patrick Gitter with an early lead, being hounded by Brandon Pasalacqua. Camera fixed right now, though, on Dave Fuge. Doing everything he can to try and stop the bleeding, but stuck on the outside line against a bunch of fast cars on the bottom, and Fuge is going to slide way up the track out of 2.
Yeah, I don't know. I know. Well, I'll tell you, he's not having a good time right now. There's nothing that looks fun about that 22 machine. It looks like he's kind of all over the place, and he is fighting that car tooth and nail. Speaking of fighting Patrick Gitter back up front, getting it done from the lead position.
I'll tell you what, Gitter has a hot rod tonight. And you can just see, like, when you come to Martinsville, you can just see where guys, it's harder to tell at, like, the mile and a halfs or, the super speedways where these guys are better. When you come to a track like Martinsville or Richmond, you can really tell. And what you're seeing right now that makes that 21 machine better is just look at how well he's given up corner entry a little bit. See him kind of back it down a little bit earlier. But he is maximizing his center rotation and his exit, getting good drive off the corner, great forward bite out of that 21 machine. And that's what you want to see. It's everybody else kind of a lane up, trying to get the diamond, trying to charge the corner, and then attack the center and get the drive off. You can't get all 3 at the same time. You got to pick your poison. And that corner exit, way more juice in the bag than there is trying to charge it on the entry.
I mean, you look at how We're going to go here and look at a replay for John Bender in the 23 machine. We watch him coming down the backstretch.
It's going to be what I think it is. Yeah, just a little bit of a grace to that curb, and around it goes. Great save for John. Oh, contact heavy from the back from the 33, though. That sent John Bender all the way up to the wall, but not too much damage. Everything hit straight on the panels.
Bender just having a series of unfortunate events. As that team was trying to recover from a black flag that occurred under the last caution. Now they got a little damage to boot. Brian Johnson is actually, that team has loaded it up and they have left the count.
Tough break for Johnson.
Tough break indeed.
And that 4 machine looked like it was going to be pretty strong once he got up there to the front.
Yeah, absolutely. Green flag racing continues. Looks like this is going to be one of our longer green flag runs of the night. Everything seems to have settled down for the time being. Derek Heitman on a little bit of a charge as he's trying to better his position. Also, we're going to be looking at the 18 of Alexander Cars. He's going to be trying to best his position as well. But for the most part, man, Barney's resting. That's kind of like the kids sleeping.
He's back there slamming some pre-workout right now. Probably got a cold compress around the arm, getting ready for the ratchet cautions that may occur at the later stages of tonight's event. Looking at Kenny Powell right now, diving down to the inside of the 20 machine. Good, clean pass for the series owner. G&G machine looks really good tonight. Looks like Kenny's brought a stout hot rod here to Martinsville.
Yeah, definitely liking the paint scheme. Also want to give a shout out there to the man that actually just got passed by Kenny Powell there in that 24. That's Chuck Burley. He's another one of your fans there from out of the Virginias. Looking good out there, Chuck.
Good performance at the home track always makes you feel a little bit better about yourself. The few years I've been good at Richmond, probably takes precedence as some of the biggest wins I've had on here.
Another driver I want to give a shout out to, man. I want to give a shout out to the 9 of JC Evans. JC, if we could maybe ride along with JC right now, finding his pace. That's what I want to give a shout out for JC Evans for here tonight, guys. Here we're in the third stage. He is still rocking it in the top 10. They started this thing in 13, so I'm going to say, way to go, JC.
I gotta give a shout out. I gotta give a shout out to old Dave Hugh Jr. up. One of our biggest movers of the evening so far tonight. Up from 23rd position into the 11th spot. Got up there on a strategy call. Lost a handful of spots at the start of at the restart. Just trying to be cautious, keep all 4 corners on that machine, and he's doing a good job. Really heads up maneuvers out of the 22 machine tonight. So he's just doing everything he can to get this thing to the finish, and you can't get a good finish if you don't finish. So good run so far for the 22 machine of Dave Huge.
Yeah, way to go, Dave. Keeping it in there here for us tonight. Also, Nick King, man, in that Ford, the number 12 car. Driver out of the Mid-South. Nick's been in the league for a couple of years. Been a solid performer. Those guys out here tonight doing it about mid-pack. They started this thing off in 15th. They're still hanging around 14th.
I just got to give him a shout-out because anytime I see a Ryan Blaney scheme on the track, I get pretty happy.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, the car.
Excited.
He's always had some pretty good-looking paints, man, and I don't know. I've liked him since he drove for the Wood Brothers. For obvious reasons.
Totally get you there.
I was a huge fan growing up of old Diamond Dave, the Buckeyed Bullet.
Look, hey, I'm going to take a chance here, and let's do our Crank It Up segment while we actually have a green flag run. So, ladies and gentlemen at home, if you got it, go ahead, and you know what to do. Pump up the volume. And we are back, unfortunately. It's time to turn it down a little bit, as I believe the 22 of Dave Hughes Jr. making unceremonious contact with the wall. Oh, gets into the 50.
There you go. See Jerry Walters diving it deep into turn number 1, and the 63 machine slides up just a little bit, gets into the back of the 22 machine of Fuge, and Fuge makes sure to return that one to the center, and Walters gets himself pinned up against the wall in the old mane and tail machine.
Absolutely. More action down on pit road as more drivers taking this opportunity to go down and split this stage. I'm starting to agree with them. I mean, they're going to be able to save this fuel, and they'll probably be able to make it to the end of this thing.
Well, we've got two pathways we could end up going here. You could either go green till this thing's over from here, or it can be a you-know-what show. What are you taking?
Well, I'm telling you that I like the call. I like the call of coming in down pit road now, because you know you're going to have enough fuel to finish it. I think we're looking at 155 laps of Delta on the fuel. The rate of cautions that we're having, tires, you'll be able to save those as well. And I think it's a late race call for drivers if they do come back down. But with this being a short track, I just don't see guys risking it to come down for tires under green flags.
I mean, I do have to say, too, though, for these guys, Patrick Gitter, Pat Lockwood, DeCiani, this is a no-brainer for these guys. We've seen them pit at obscure times or get held back, in traffic and work their way up. They have fast cars. They have the talent to make this place work, regardless of what the circumstances are around them. They didn't lose too much time there either. Just sitting in fourth place. Only 3 guys stayed out here at the front. That being Greg Wachinski, Hohen, and Drumhiller. So, pretty easy call if you're the 21 machine.
Yeah, indeed. Now, we're just hoping that these guys do their part. That is the theme of tonight's race. It's do your part. You want green flag racing? Do your part. You want fewer cautions? Do your part. You want to see good racing? Do your part. Like, subscribe. Come on. We need you here. The ISCA. Be up front where the action is. Lights off on the pace car. Going to take this thing racing for one more time here.
And into turn number 3 goes the 5 machine of Greg Wachinski. Side by side with the 19 machine coming out of turn number 4. Flag is in the air. Barney getting a workout tonight. Green flag is out. And Greg Wachinski leads him to the start and finish line.
Solid start for the 5 of Greg Wachinski, actually out getting one of his first laps led thus far this season. And boy, is he actually getting out to a lead. Phil stacked up pretty wide behind him, the 44-6 and the 83. All right there, making it happen.
But here he comes down to the bottom. Patrick Gitter in the 21 machine, the guy that has more or less made this race his own here in the later stages. Taking that second place away from the 19 of Owen. Now down into turn number 3. What's he going to have for the 5 machine of Wachinski?
Well, further back, it is racy, to say the least. His drivers are still 2 by 2 and not any sign of it letting up anytime soon. That means it's probably going to be a caution coming out. As 83 comes
Gitter
in.
takes the lead. Gitter going to get past the number 5 with a move down into turn number 3 that we just caught right off camera. But Patrick Gitter back out here showing his muscles while the rest of these guys are still stuck behind the 2 that stayed out.
Yeah, those 2 are Greg Wachinski and Jay Hone. Caution's out again. Going to be looking to see what actually took place on this one. I see Jose Medina. Hopefully he wasn't in that one.
Well, unless he's just pulling out of the garage, I think.
He's making out with the pace car over there in the corner.
Oh, and the 45 machine,
45
too. Looped around the back straightaway. What happened there?
They're doing a little ballerina acts here. .48 right here on the inside. Greg Carr, you see him.
45 machine just gets loose down there on the bottom. Hang on, put a camera on the 45 because he's shades of Kyle Busch here after the incident.
And you'll see just after.
Zelenka fighting with his teammate. He just gets down, he hooks on that curb, and once you get that left side tire down that curb, it does not want to come off there. And all it wants to do is just throw that car around.
Yeah, and then next thing you know, Jose Medina finds himself behind the wall as he actually stepped on that turtle curb.
That right there, that is the side of a man who is sick to death of this track. Rough break for Zelenka here. Everybody else coming out of turn 2 thinking, wait a minute, that should not be pointing the direction it's pointing.
Looks like the last takers possibly on pit road. Just I think everyone is cycled through now with the exception of Jay Hone.
Yeah. Patrick Gitter back out here in charge of this thing again. Jose Medina gonna have to come down and serve a black flag on that one.
Well, he got caught where he wasn't supposed to be.
Yeah,
that's all I gotta say about that one.
You don't often see cars down there.
Can't go back up in there like that.
No, not at all.
Lights off on the pace car. We are doubled up again here. 1 to go till green. Got a couple cars, couple stragglers making their way around the racetrack, but everybody else, it's time to get tight. We've seen single file racing for the longer runs, but the last couple runs, we've seen drivers up 2 by 2, even 3 wide. Turn it back to Sheldon.
Into turn number 3, Patrick Gitter leading this field of hungry drivers out of 4, getting ready to take it back to the green flag here into the Geico restart zone. It's in Barney's hands, but now it's in Patrick Gitter's hands. The green flag is out. Gitter with a good launch. 19 Machine Hohen way up against the fence through 1 and 2. A miss into turn number 1, going to cost him a whole bunch of spots here.
Yeah, I think he's just trying to get out of the way right now. I don't think those guys are really wanting to come down pit road. It seems they're saving their tires, but they don't want to kind of cause any calamity. So you're on to 19 for sliding on back, but who's not? That's right, the 21 of Patrick Gitter now extending his lead over Josh Schaffner. And Josh Schaffner's teammate, Randy Mullins.
Patrick Gitter right now in control of the race, but if he looks up in the mirror for long enough, he's going to see a sea of red. Paradigm red, that is. It's all 3 of the Paradigm cars are sitting here running 2nd, 3rd, and 4th. Josh Schaffner through Randy Mullins and Brandon Pasalakwa separating Gitter from his teammate Matt DiCiani.
Yeah, we were talking about the team aspect, and here we are doing exactly that. Team racing Gitter up front, getting it done like you said. And we were actually looking out the back window of his car, of that 21 Chevrolet. These guys came down here to Virginia, man, and they hauled off. I mean, they pulled that thing off the hauler, and it's been sizzling ever since, knowing that they've got themselves, it's a lightning rod. That's what it is.
And Schaffner, through determination, strategy, and corn, bringing that 50 machine up 22 spots into the 2nd position from where he started 24th. A good run out of the 50 machine thus far. And looking like he's got the speed to match it, but a little bit of lockup. You can't do that too much. His tires aren't going to take that for too long. That's going to open the door for Pasalakwa to get a really good run down the back straightaway to try and get back up to the rear bumper of his teammate here, but he's got a handful with DiCiani hounding him through the corner.
Absolutely, Schaffner doing everything he can to maintain his position. And, you know, he's got to feel good. Clawing his way all the way up to 2nd place. If he can just hold off, if these two can just hold off Matt DiCiani.
Another lockup for Schaffner. Look in the mirror. You see right now the 6 of Pasalakwa trying to go offense and defense at the same time as he's got the 1 machine of Matt DiCiani breathing down his neck, and you see DiCiani just going for total offense here, opening up his corner entry, getting a little bit wider coming in so he can get a really good launch out as these two both overtake Schaffner, and Schaffner is just stuck on the outside and going backwards in a hurry.
Yeah, he's got those brakes really hot there, and you can tell as he's paying for it, might have to make an adjustment on the brake bias or something. I think that's probably one of the only things he can do, short of changing his driving style, but he was going to drop a bunch of slots all the way from 2nd back to 7th.
That's how quick you can lose it here when it's bottom feed city. Now, DeCiani to the back bumper of the 6th machine of Passalacqua, 2 of the fastest cars out here tonight. It's the battle for 2nd. And I think DeCiani just has the edge. He just can't get by him. And it is getting foggy out here at Martinsville, too.
You know, I was gonna say it's a little hazy. I thought it was me, but yeah, I think you're absolutely correct. I'm watching it from the blimp view, and it's a lot more pronounced than it is, say, from the track view or the chopper view. But Brandon Passalacqua now seems to be a little bit more comfortable. I mean, you know, he's out there and he's turning good, consistent lap times. As a matter of fact, he had the fastest lap time on that last lap, running the 19.2.
See if we can get a roof camera set up on that one machine at DeCiani's. He's hounding the 6th machine on both ends of the speedway here. See him right here opening up a higher entry, trying to get that cut on exit so he can get the forward bite down this front straightaway. Good launch from here, but Passalacqua doing a really good job holding strong.
If you look at the line,
DeCiani wearing him out.
If you look at the line that DeCiani's running, just look at it like if he were running a circular saw. See how he just keeps that saw running around the outside, causing it not to bind, not cutting it too sharp, not driving in, but just staying out there just enough that he can roll around the outside, making it look like a fingertip even, and just making that car work for him.
Yeah, right now what he's doing is he's just trying to stage up a good run coming out of the corner to get him right up to the back bumper of the 6th machine to, you know, dive down to the bottom or potentially give a little bit of a horn to him coming into the corner. But it looks like the more that he's spinning up there in that outside line, the more that he's putting himself into a disadvantage with that right front tire, because you see him kind of getting tight now. You can hear it. Oh, Fuge having a little bit of an issue. That's a huge issue. Fuge meatballed right now. That's a come down and fix it now or go home penalty. Not a Marinara situation.
There's Marinara on that black flag. That's why we call it the meatball. Yeah, I tell you what. It's going to take more than a hammer to get that thing going again. So we'll be watching him, but I think we're going to be watching him via behind the wall. But hopefully that team can come back. Hey, they had a good, solid run. Actually, even up front, led a couple of laps. So kudos to those guys for picking up those points at least. Hopefully they'll get it hammered out and get it back out there. Get her done.
Rough break for Fuge. But you look back, DeCiani still trying to bring the heat to the 6th machine of Passalacqua. DeCiani now going for a little bit lower of a line as you see the 6th machine start to fade up to a higher arc. What you're seeing right now, though, is Passalacqua's just doing such a good job backing down his corner entry that it's bringing the one machine right to him on entry. But look at how the 6th machine's able to gap him coming out of the corner. As, contact with the wall for the lap machine, the 33, and Heitman's going to get into the rear bumper of him here on the front straightaway.
Yeah, they got a little bit too close for comfort as the 76, though, manages to make his way around Jose Medina, who was serving a little bit of time there. He had some damage in a black flag. He's actually back out on the racing surface. We're actually watching to see what actually occurred here. There's the 33 getting into the wall, and just like that contact from the 76.
Yeah, he got up into the fence, and the 76 is already committed to his entire corner down to the straightaway. Once they get up in the wall like that, you can't really jerk the brakes and try to turn off of the guy in front of you. You're kind of just along for the ride.
You got John Bender. He's actually down on pit road at all. And I'm going to say this. Lap traffic is real, and that's what they're going to be dealing with as the 21 finds himself kind of in the midst of it all. And he's going to have to get through a lot of traffic here that he's got in front of him. So we'll see how that affects his plans and if that actually allows the 6 or the 1 to close the gap.
Yeah, this lap traffic can be a deal breaker here for Patrick Gator. It can be a deal breaker for anybody in this top 5. Because there's nothing I can think of worse than catching lap cars at a short track.
Yeah, I'm interested to see if it's actually gonna actually cause the field to kind of get bottled back up, or it's definitely going to increase our chance for a caution which that's exactly what we need right now.
Well, I can't say the first car that'll be falling into the clutches of Patrick Gitter is going to be the 25 machine of Greg Carr, who is currently running 18th at the tail end of the lead lap, and he's got a handful of guys in front of him that they are all racing for position.
Now, does he have to yield to the leader?
I do not know how it's rolled here in ISCA, but any league I've ever been in, you just you race how you want to be raced.
Okay.
Here comes Gitter.
Very well said.
Here comes Gitter to the back of the 25 machine. The 25 is going to go up. Let him have that room. Not going to try and contest the leader. Now Gitter stuck behind the 44 machine of Randy Drumhiller. Gitter going to take a deep dive down into turn number 1. Drumhiller not going to fight too hard. Going to give the spot to Gitter. All smooth for the 21 machine currently.
Dragging the 6 and the 1 behind him. Brandon Passalacqua going to set up the same way, and he's going to try to get around the 44. DeCiani being held up just a little bit, but he'll make it through in the next corner. Heitman follows the boot. So it looks like these guys will make it pretty easy work of the lap traffic thus far.
Now Gitter working on Jeremy Clapper Newell. Kind of getting held up a little bit by the 49 machine, though. Jeremy going to stay down here to the bottom. Going to take the inside line, which is really going to hurt Patrick Gitter because the top line is not where you want to be. This is going to open up a huge advantage for the 6 machine to pass Passalacqua.
That's that question I was asking. You know, these guys, are they required to yield to the leader? And Clapper Newell showing you just that they don't have to. And he is holding the leader up, causing Gitter to race around the outside.
And look at this. Look at the advantage just absolutely melt away. Here comes the 6 machine. He was a second back 2 laps ago. He's down to 3/10. He's right there.
It'll be just a matter of time before these guys display their displeasure with the 49.
And now here we go. The 6 machine of Passalacqua stuck on the outside. If he can find a way to get to the bottom, he's going to be at a great advantage over the 21 machine. And a huge block out of the 49 into 3. At this point, I'd be throwing a bumper.
Can't keep it down. 49 getting a little bit loose there. Brandon trying to make his move on the inside. Is he going to actually be able to? Yep, he actually cuts through this time. Matt DeCiani to follow suit. Derek Heitman held up, but yeah, you're right. Those guys were actually able to close that deficit that they had there between Patrick Gitter.
Yeah, it dropped it down about 0.6 of a second, but Gitter, now that he's got the clean air, no traffic in front of him, starting to pull that advantage back out a little bit more.
Gitter getting it done. We've been. I mean, if you've been following this league, you've seen Brandon Passalacqua, Matt DeCiani, Derek Heitman, these guys, and Randy Mullins. Even these guys are some of the staples in this league that have been here, for a while. So it's great to see the level of professionalism they have up front, and it's great to see, how competitive they are as well.
Well, these drivers right here, it's not even just in this series. These guys are world-class talents anywhere that they go here on the iRacing service. I've called DeCiani to a bunch of wins in A-Open, NIS. Same thing for Patrick Gitter. I've raced against these guys numerous times, and there's one thing that these guys don't do. They don't slack. Passalacqua will always really scrappy, too, wherever you put him, whatever equipment you have him running in. These guys get the most out of their stuff every week.
Indeed, and that's what you're looking for. I mean, from a fan to an owner to a manager or crew chief, you want a guy that's going to go out there, respect the equipment, not tear it up. And you talked about that last week as well, to drivers that are just out there and they're just respectful. Having a good time here tonight. So our leader slowly encroaches upon the he's going to be coming up on the 24, and I do believe the 45.
Let's see what old Wortman's in-car and heart rate's looking like right now. So we've kind of entered a lull period here in the race. See if he's still running up in the 100 pluses. Steady right now. You see him falling behind 54 machine of Mullins. Man, Wortman's on it. Oh, in contact. That'll send the heart rate up.
No, he's still cool as he ever was right there, unfortunately, for Mr. Mullins.
Oh, and around goes Mullins again.
And
that's going to bring a yellow.
Another little bit of incidental contact from the 9 of J.C. Evans. He's just getting smacked around there.
I'll tell you what, Mullins has been hit by just about everybody but the pace car this evening. Look at it here. It's an 83 machine, gets right up there in tow behind the 54 out of 3 and 4. The 1 and 2. I just struggle to get center, and the 83 machine just did such a good job hooking the bottom. Just kind of plowed through him. Don't think it was intentional, but and the 12 gets him with a little bit of tasteful net code, and almost got cleared out by the 9 machine too of Evans.
I mean, from the looks of things, that 54 car is listening to some country music on the inside, or he's just playing out the videos. Not the way those guys probably saw themselves in this thing, as they have lost quite a few positions, but still in the top 10.
1 machine at Gitter, really good job entering the box. No real time loss there. I'll take his 4 tires and fill up a Sunoco fuel, probably fire a couple adjustments at it. The jack is down. Gitter's going to lead the charge off of pit road. The sizable advantage over second place, Brandon Pasalacqua. DiCiani coming out third. Fourth, Derek Heitman. And fifth is going to be the 83 machine of Tim Wortman Jr.
Been a doozy here tonight as we've had 11 cautions. Isn't that the number you picked?
Hey, there we go. I said 11 plus, so I'm going to win regardless.
Oh, jeez. Well, I guess that you would be closest without going over, so. Congratulations. You won the meat tray. Or shall I say, Kobe, tell him what he's won.
Trust me, it's a trophy I did not want to win tonight.
It's coming straight to you from down under. That's right, coming from Australia.
I think I'd rather the 92 liters of beer.
Not 92 liters of beer, but about 45 pounds of warm meat.
I don't like this. Not one bit. You gonna put it on ice? All right, that's fine.
But ice was off this week.
Pace car making the descent down pit road. Patrick Gitter and Brandon Pasalacqua leading the field into 3 and 4. Working themselves to the Geico restart zone to give Barney another workout here tonight. Green flag in hand, and the green flag is in the air and waving. Patrick Gitter leading him down to turn number 1 with DiCiani directly in tow. Going to get the jump on the 6 machine of Pasalacqua with the Fortis teammates have it locked down at the front.
And you have to imagine that they're enjoying the spot that they're in. The field, once again, is kind of leveled out, if you will. They're going to get to make quite a few laps here before they're actually encountered with lap traffic again. It's going to happen, but they get to at least race in clean air for a little while.
Ben Jr. here. Stressing out like he has been all race with a heart rate of 133. Sitting there in the 5th position, right behind Derek Heitman. Good, clean, quiet race for Derek Heitman in the 76 machine tonight.
We're locked up there for the 12 cars. He is into the wall. Also going to have another car in the wall. Costa's going to come out.
Oh, the 12, Nick King. We were just talking about him.
Yeah, 2 separate incidents that occurred right there. You had Nick King who cashed out in the corner, and then right after that, you had another car kind of got balled up. Watching the replay here, we should be able to see the second incident occur from the 12 as well. It'll be right up ahead of them. With 3 cars ahead of the 12, you're going to see that other incident.
This is a rough break for Nick, too. Just outside of the top 5, 6th position here. He got loose, and he could have spun it in the corner and took out a lot of cars. He took his own way out there and sacrificed himself to avoid making a huge stack up there. Big respect to the 12 machine.
Yep, and seemingly unrelated, you see the 37 of Kevin Zosiak. He also made contact with the wall.
I think the 37 was trying to avoid wherever the 12 machine was going, and maybe grabbed a little bit too much wheel there.
We're going to the 25 car. Greg Type 1 Eats going to be the recipient of that lucky dog. Here he comes around the outside. No, he's going to be happy to have one of his laps back at least.
He's going to be happy for this thing to get over so he can go focus on next week.
Next week?
Been an enjoyable night for the 25 machine.
Oh, next week we're going to go see that lady. You know who I'm talking about.
We're going to the Lady in Black.
The Lady in Black.
Oh, Darlington, the best circuit on this service.
Yeah, recently rescanned Darlington.
The way they did a full rescan.
I think, well, in the last 2 years they've done it, haven't they?
I know they've updated artwork. I don't know if they've rescanned it or not. I mean, they do need to rescan that track surface if they haven't already, because we have on here from 2009, if I do remember correctly.
All right, thanks for checking me.
It might be, though. It might be, because I was out when they did updates to it. So I took a few years hiatus to enjoy spending time with my youngin'. But Patrick Gitter leading him into 3 and 4. Green flag is in the air. Patrick Gitter to the gas, quickest. Good launch over his teammate DeCiani. Past Lockwood, not able to get clear. Here comes Derek Heitman around the outside of the 6 machine, but past Lockwood going to get the advantage on the back straightaway, and he's going to clear Heitman into turn number 3.
Heitman not going to go away easy, as he understands right now the most valuable asset they have right now is track position. So not wanting to let it go, but looks like he is going to just kind of slip back and take it easy. Josh Schaffner getting pushed to the outside as you got a couple of G&G guys there, the 24 and the 5. They're going to kind of push him out.
Oh, the 5 gets the curb. He curb tops it. Round goes the 5.
J.C. Evans.
And that is a huge wreck.
Yeah, that's going to be a bill collector right there in the corner. This is going to be a lot to unpack, but we can start by looking at the 5 car. I do believe that's going to be about where it originated. Greg, this is not the shout-out you want, buddy.
Oh, Gitter just about got in a wreck with Evans under caution here.
Yikes. Leave the leader alone as you see Wachinski on the inside of Schaffner. Right here on the inside, he's holding in. Oh, just like that, goes in too hard, gets over the turtle, comes out fat in the corner. Broadside Schaffner, but then he just collects the bunch in the corner.
That just took the whole field with him. Wind that back for me, though, and give me the onboard of the 5 machine coming into 3. Because I promise you, that right there, that was a misshift. Had to have been. Not on that tachometer. Drop it down here in the 3rd. Yeah, there it goes. There's that lazy slide. Just get ever so slightly off on the rev match when you go to downshift from 4th to 3rd, and it just yanks that back into the car, chatters those tires, and you're just a passenger at that point. There's nothing you can do aside from close your eyes and pray.
Well, hey, you know what? At least we showcased Greg Wachinski's new paint scheme here tonight as this car comes down pit road a little.
Oh, it's hard.
For wear, but look at that paint scheme. Isn't that speed up? Way to go, Greg.
That thing went from looking like a cup car to a car store machine real quick.
It still looks like
slouch.
a cup. Just looks like one of those cups when you crush it and throw it in the trash can.
That is what we refer to as a beer can, friends.
Yes, ma'am. Wow, just like that, another caution comes out to us. But we're going to get this thing lined back up, and you know what? As we start to look at this, we are slowly encroaching upon 50 laps remaining, and it has been a long one here. I mean, the lights still haven't come on, but it seems like we've been here for a school year.
Or if it's been a school year, I'm wondering when nap time is going to kick in.
Matt DeCiani going to be trying his turn up front here on the pole. He's going to have his Paradigm teammate, Brandon Passalacqua. No, sorry.
That's not a teammate right there.
No, those are foes. So this is going to be an epic battle shaping up here. The 1, the 6, the 21, and the 76 of Derek Heitman. Tim Wortman Jr. also in the mix. Guys, I mean, this is shaping up to be the field that you want to see here towards the end of this thing.
DeCiani leading them out turn number 4 into the Geico restart zone. Good launch, a little bit of a nudge from the 76 machine of Heitman. Going to get him set off into turn number 1 here with a decent advantage over the rest of the field as they're side by side behind him. Passalacqua charging on the outside, trying to get by Heitman, but Heitman's going to clear for second as we come into turn number 3.
Watching Sanchez get to the outside as Schaffner calls Kevin Zosiak to check up just a little bit, but in front of those guys, the story is going to be that 6 car as he is right now stuck between 2, trying to advance forward as he's got Derek Heitman in front of him. And he's going to have Patrick Gitter behind him, and that's just, I don't know if that's a sandwich you want to be a part of.
Not quite. But here comes Patrick Gitter now, trying to get himself back up to that top spot, working to get to the back bumper of the 6 machine. Huge entry into turn number 3, trying to diamond it off, get a good launch down the straightaway. But that 6 of Passalacqua, man, he is scrappy. You don't think that car's got all the speed it's got, but then he gets in front of some of these fast guys. He's just able to make do well enough to keep them at bay. He's been doing it all night.
And he's going to have to make that 6 Chevrolet just as wide as he possibly can if he wants to keep it on the podium, because, I mean, he doesn't have, you know, skags behind him. He's got some of the most elite drivers in the circuit all around him, and him being one himself. So that just shows you what the docket looks like here tonight.
While this is happening further back, DeCiani is walking away to a 6.5, 7/10 advantage over Derek Heitman in second. Time is running out if you're Patrick Gitter right now.
Well, DeCiani enjoying where he's at, but, you know, they're still aware that we've got 45 laps to go at Martinsville, which doesn't seem like a lot, but that's a lot of racing left, and that's a lot of opportunities for cautions. And I hate to say that C word. We're running clean and green right now. Matt DeCiani showing the way. Derek Heitman behind him. I do believe DeCiani is going to be like our 5th leader here tonight.
Oh, one car slow on the front straightaway. Randy Belk in the 33 machine. Looks like he got squirreled up there a little bit, but good to go.
Yeah, those guys have had an eventful night, to say the least. I mean, that car is going to be sore. He's going to be sore tomorrow. Yeah, not the smoothest evening for them, but they're still in this thing.
Not quite. See Gitter still trying to make inroads on the 6 machine at Passalacqua here, working that outside line, trying to find that momentum. Passalacqua is doing a great job at defense, staying there pinched around the bottom, not letting him get to the inside quarter pound, knowing that it's almost impossible to get anything to work on the top, forcing him to have to set himself up with an alternate line through the corners to get him on the straightaway.
Don't tell anybody. But Kenny Powell has made it up. Not only in the top 10, but he's in 6th place right now, hanging out right behind Tim Wortman Jr. And he's bringing quite the crowd with him as he has the 54 Randy Mullins as well as Josh Schaffner in tow. And I can only imagine why these guys will be trying to get up there. I think maybe they want to throw their hat in the ring.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, Kenny's out there driving the company car right now. You got to make it look good.
Roger, I like it. Greg Heitman posting a 19.280, fastest driver on the lap beforehand, and I'll just show you where we're at. The fastest lap overall. It's up by Matt DeCiani at a 19.035. Fastest lap, that last lap was by Patrick Gitter at a 19.305. So 0.3 of a second slower on that lap than the fastest lap we had.
Patrick Gitter really starting to make moves on the 6 machine, getting closer and closer to the bumper as the laps wind by. And these guys are reeling in your race leader right now. Ever so slightly. And we still, if it stays green, we got another fight with this lap traffic, and that could make it any man's race here in this top 5.
Well, just like the referee told them, the lap traffic is a part of the field. So the drivers are going to have to navigate, get around that traffic, and still try to maintain or best their positions. And I think that's going to come down to what we're going to see here as we're watching Gitter. And he is pinning the bumper of that 6 car, putting just the appropriate amount of pressure onto the 6.
Just like that, DeCiani and Belk, Derek Heitman get clear of Belk and the 19 machine of Jay Hohen. Pretty simple for this first wave of lap cars, but there's still more to come. This is about as foggy as I've ever seen it here. I'm watching from the blimp cam over here on my feed. So it's pretty difficult to see the cars from up here.
Yeah, the higher you go, the harder it is to show. And we're seeing that as the 54 of Randy Mullins comes down on the inside of the 24 Kenny Powell. Powell's going to get kicked up high. The 50 of Southern's also going to be trying to make a run on it. He's down on the inside, going to push Powell high as well. Kind of got bobbled up there a little bit by the 54, but that's going to clear out. Schaffner and Powell still duking it out. This battle, 7th place.
DeCiani now stretching the advantage over Derek Heitman up to over a second now. Good run out of that 1 machine. Fortis looking strong as ever tonight, running 1-2-4 up here at the front of the field. Still got all these lap cars to get through, though. Huge pack of them in front. A little bit of smoke out of one of the cars up there at the front. I think that was Greg Carr. No, never mind. I think it was the 9 machine, potentially.
That's going to be J.C. Evans.
DeCiani now to the back of Greg Carr. Carr going to go up to the top of the track. Let him get by.
Oh, the 37. Okay, never mind. False alarm. I've been known to get excited about nothing.
You and me both, buddy. Comes with the job. I've been closing it ever so slightly. Patrick Gitter has now gotten the position from Passalacqua up to the 3rd spot, but I just think that the time's run out and these cars in front of them are going to be way too hard to get past, let alone reel in.
You know, coming up 25 laps to go, this is a short track, so this would be considered go time. I don't think you can wait till 10 to go. I think if you're going to make moves, you have to start making those moves now, setting up those passes.
Absolutely. Bad news for DeCiani as lap cars go side by side in front of him. The 5 machine taking a fight to the 44. Want to bottom up a little bit. He's still all over the back of the 5 machine coming out of the turn 2 into the back straightaway.
Yeah, the battle between the 5 and the 44 was for position. And that is going to matter because that might be the fight for the lucky dog.
Look at how much that closed up the advantage to Heitman. Heitman now down to 6/10 of a second from over a second back. But as soon as DeCiani catches that clean air and doesn't have to worry about anything, he's off like a rocket again, pulling it up to 0.8 of a second here.
Man, a lot of good-looking paint schemes down there tonight. I just want to say that.
Absolutely. RPM throwbacks, always good, good sight to see. Now you'd hope that the SDP colors would bring a little more good fortune here to the Martinsville Speedway, but it's been a difficult night for those guys.
Yeah, it's been a difficult night for a lot of guys, but that's what you get when you come out for short track racing. It's really more like a heavyweight bout. It's not about who's the fastest. It's about who's going to be around at the end of this thing. I often say that, but especially true when you come to a track like Martinsville. You know, it's not necessarily about go, right? As Matt DeCiani is going, he's still out front of this thing.
To the back bumper, Medina pushing him up the track.
He's not going to want to be wasting any time either. He's going to want to try to get around these lap guys as quick as possible. His car got into, and he goes around. Caution's still not out.
Yep,
there
it's
it
out.
is.
It's out. There it is.
Yeah, just not enough room right there in that turn for both of those guys. And, well, we see how it ended.
That's going to open us up for pit stops here. Because that was a really long run on the tires. You see the 25 Machina car just get kind of punted by the 88 here.
Yeah, he possibly checked up because what he would have seen the puff of smoke coming from the car that was two in front of him, and it just didn't work out between him and the 88. They kind of met in the middle.
Another one back down to the garage there.
We're going to look and see what's going on here, man. How busy is pit road? And the leader is leading the charge of pit road. Looks like all lead lap cars. Oh, nope. Look at that. The 6th car has stayed out. That's Brandon Passalacqua.
Voting to be the contrarian here, it could pay off in his favor, because if we get enough cautions here, there's not going to be much that these guys can do to him. If we end up going into a green-white checkered scenario. It's possible. It's a stretch, but it's possible.
53 lap old tires. He's going to have company on the front row, and unfortunately, they're not going to be on the same year as his good years. I think a lot of his good years are gone.
Well, looks like he's got Mullins and King staying with him. Zodiac staying as well, so there's a little bit of a buffer there. But
And then
I
you
like
got
the call.
You got some guys further on in the pack back there. They're going to be on some old rubber as well. Hey, yeah, what can you do? It's 15
trouble.
You got to mix it up.
Trouble on pit road for DeCiani. He just got a exiting closed pit.
That's the end of the longest line penalty.
Or one of these guys, whoever won the race off pit road, just got hit with exiting closed.
I do believe that's an EOL, right?
I do believe so, yes. Which, as we watch DeCiani give away more spots than Santa Claus here, I do believe that is him that got affected.
He's slowly sliding on back, so spot on you were. Lights off, they are. Lined up, we are. This is going to be getting down to it. 15 laps to go, 14 at the line.
I think Heitman got it as well, but back to the battle on hand here. Paradigm Red teammates leading into turn number 3 and 4 down the front straightaway. Green flag is in the air. Great launch for Brandon Passalacqua. The outside row just absolutely takes a nap coming into the box. Mullins going to duck down in front of King.
Brandon did a very good job of getting that line to just totally collapse on itself, and when those guys weren't expecting it, off he went. 12 cars sideways. He's going to get up into the wall. 37, Kevin Zosiak's going to be down on the inside down. That's going to keep going.
Oh, the 83 of Wortman, and down round goes to 37.
Goes around. Caution.
That's going to be a yellow.
Not out. He is still off the racing surface, but he's backing up now. There's the caution.
Contact between Schaffner and King there. Riles up the pack a little bit, coming into the corner. What that was just a deep dive to avoid the chaos of the 12 machine.
Well, it's like the 83 of Wortman Jr. a little loose there in the corner as well, and that probably was the biggest thing for Zosiak.
And what happened was Wortman was trying to avoid the wreck down the straightaway. And watch him right here. He shoots it down low, trying to avoid it, and tries to go back up. And that shift in balance, the lateral load of the car coming into turn one, caused him to just snap loose through center, all the way through entry to center. And thankfully the 37 was there to clear him out or collect him. But unfortunate for the 37 because that de-wedged the car and sent him around.
Yeah, and Kevin Zosiak now on pit road, changing his tires, 57 laps on those. But guess what? The two guys up front on the front row, Randy Mullins and Brandon Passalacqua, both having 59 to be 60 laps on their equipment at the line, and we'll be about 10 to go, don't you know? So this is going to come out. This is the slow part of the fest. Elbows are going to be out. And here in the ISCA, there's only one green-white checker. So we really do have a pretty good eye on how this thing is going to shake it out. So guys behind on those fresh tires, they're going to be wanting to get around these two guys. That's going to happen. So it's definitely going to be how Brandon Passalacqua and Randy Mullins set themselves up going into turn one. But you got to believe they're going to have a horde that's going to be raining down upon them, just trying to take over that position, because the person that's going to come out of turn one in the lead, I think that person has the best shot at winning this thing.
They've got Passalacqua, who's done the best job tonight at being defensive. But you've got Patrick Gitter, who's had one of the fastest hot rods here in Martinsville from the start of this race. Passalacqua out here on way older tires, Gitter on fresh. It's going to be entertaining. I can tell you that much. Pace car makes the descent down pit road for what will hopefully be the final caution and the setup for an incredible 10-lap shootout here at Martinsville. Out of turn number 4, flag in the hand. Passalacqua takes him to the start. Good launch out of the 6 machine, and the 54 Mullins is going to down on the bomb, which is going to be crucial for this race lead scenario. As you see, Gitter gets stuck behind the 54 Mullins, and Schaffner up on the outside, using him as a pick. 3 wide into turn number 3. Gitter dives deep up against the curbing, moves Randy Mullins up out of the way, give him a little bit of muscle, and Wortman gets into the back of the 54, but Gitter clear to the second place position, and here comes Ticiani hard into the 83. And
that's going to send the 50 around as well. The 83 still bouncing off the walls. Caution is going to come out. I tell you what, you just added about 10 more minutes to the post-race meeting. More to unpack right there, because and it's not over right now. Temperatures are definitely going to be at an all-time high, because if you look at where we're at right now, only 4 to go. When this thing goes green again, you'll see they go into that turn 3 wide. Randy Mullins in the middle. Pretty old equipment. He's going to have Tim Wortman Jr. all over his back bumper with Matt DeCiani on the inside of him. And then you just push that zit, and it's going to do one or two things. It's going to hold or blow. She blew.
That right there, that's just a chain reaction.
Or still looks clear. No penalties, no black flags. Quite a few drivers down and away. Looks like we've got 13 drivers that are remaining on the lead lap.
And we have the option of an additional caution after this, too.
Alexander Carr in the 18. He Going to get the lucky dog. Got to give a shout out to David Gervais as well. David started this thing in dang near last place. He started in 31st. He's holding strong here in 14th. Those guys have definitely got to be happy about their run. He did just get involved in that last caution. I do believe he kind of got caught up with the 83. Maybe it was one before that, but we're showing 5 to go.
Well, David Gervais, as Robert Cook so eloquently refers to him as, what's up there, Gerbil? Good run out of him tonight. That's a name that's been kicking around the iRacing garage for, man, longer than I've even been on here. Always run mostly independent, too. A lot of respect. A lot of respect for that cat.
We are showing 4 laps to go at the line lights. We're off on the pace car. If this isn't the last caution, it will be the next to last caution because, whether you believe it or not, we're going to be out of time.
Pace car diving to the inside now. Paradigm, red cars on the bottom, and Fortis up top. Which team's going to walk away with the upper hand tonight? Into the box. Green flag is in the air. Brandon Pasolacqua gets a good launch, pulling his teammate Schaffner with him into turn number 1. They're going to be side by side with Gitter stuck on the outside line. How defensive is that 54 machine of Mullins going to play to ensure that one of their cars makes it home? Not much, though. Here comes Gitter to the back bumper, the 6.
Ooh.
And, huge chaos. Kenny Powell gets shoved up the track. One around.
Sanchez definitely got into contact by the 50 as he ended up sideways.
Two laps to go. A tenth separating your race leader. Brandon Pasolacqua gets dived down to the inside by Patrick Gitter. Huge contact over the curbs, and Gitter turns the 6 machine of Pasolacqua around. And huge contact for the 6. And no caution. Green flag is out. DeCiani shoving the bumper to the back of the 21 machine. White flag in the air. Down the back straightaway. Is DeCiani going to be to make a final strike to get to the 21 of Gitter? Looking high, trying to find the momentum out of turn number 4. Patrick Gitter is going to get it, and DeCiani's going to get the fence. Patrick Gitter is going to bring home the clock here from Martinsville. And that's not going to be a popular finish.
Quite a bit to unpack.
Race where tempers have boiled over, fights have been had. Come down to the last 2 laps, and you have a knockout brawl to take the win. I don't think them Paradigm guys are going to feel too happy about how that one played out.
Waiting on Patrick Gitter's celebration here. Waiting to see if he is going to burn him down. A little bit of a somber finish there. I got to say that can't go down as one of his probably happier finishes. You think?
I've seen
that's right.
It's for me, coming from somebody that's had the opportunity to cover that 21 machine of Patrick Gitter in multiple series, I feel like that was just a miscalculation. I've seen him in a lot of opportunities where he could have been the aggressor and really riled somebody up for the win. And he's typically taken the high road and been really respectful. I don't think that was his intent. But, you get into those moments, late in these races, and you do everything you can to get the win for yourself, get the win for your team. And sometimes you cross a line that you weren't trying to cross just because the way situations play out.
All it burn out for Patrick Gitter.
Now for Pasolacqua, that no matter what Gitter says or does or meant to do is not going to mean much of anything. But hopefully cooler heads prevail, because these two are 2 of the best drivers week in and week out here for the ISCA series.
Looks like Gitter's taking that Alan Kuwicki victory lap.
Famous Polish victory lap here.
All right, I'm going to rate that burnout. I'm going to give him an A+. And with that done, I think we're going to run down the order here real quick before we take a step away and get our post show going.
If memory serves, isn't Wasn't the anniversary of Alan Phillippe's passing here recently?
Not sure on that one.
Yes, it is. April 1st, actually.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, nice.
Big respect for that.
Getter, your race winner, Matt DeCiani, brings it home in second with Derek Heitman third. Fourth place shows Randy Mullins. Fifth place, Tim Wortman Jr. Nick King in sixth. Seventh place, Jeremy Clapper Newell. Eighth place, Kenny Powell. Ninth place, Kevin Zosiak and David Gervais. Shout out to you, David, the top 10 finish.
Bringing home in 11th place is going to be Josh Schaffner after a decent recovery from an earlier incident. 12th is going to be Mark Sanchez, followed by Alexander Carr after a race he'd probably rather forget. 14th, heartbreaking finish for Brandon Pasalacqua, followed by J.C. Evans in 15th. 16th, Greg Wyszynski, followed by Chuck Burley, Greg Carr, Bacon Salinka, and Jose Medina round out your top 20.
21st position is going to show Randy Drumhiller with Randy Belk. Pair of Randy's there in 22nd. Jay Hone, 23rd. 24th, John Bender. 25th, Dave Fuger Jr., Jerry Walters in 26th, Chris Crosby 27th, Brian Johnson 28th, Joey Preby 29th, Vincent Crow 30th. 31st is going to be Jason Hand, and Paul Hill's going to round out the 32 car field. With that done, we're going to take a step away, get a brief word from our sponsors, and we'll be back with our post-race show.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
Ow. Ew. Ow. Ew.
Want relief from tough pain without the tough taste? Try Goody's Cool Orange. Goody's fast, Goody's delicious, because pain relief shouldn't be a pain to take. Goody's flavors, taking the pain out of pain relief.
And we are back with our post-race coverage of the Goodies 250 here tonight. I am joined in the booth by none other than the driver of the 76 machine, Derek Heitman. Derek Heitman, Big Al up in the booth. How you got me?
I got you loud and clear, Big Al.
Well, man, I know this is your first time running this track, but I'm going to say a third place finish is pretty dang spectacular, especially starting off in 18th. Tell us how you did it.
I was just super patient and found my way through the traffic and watched some interesting stuff out of my windshield, and everybody started clearing themselves out. And like I said, it was a 250 lap race. I was just patient and bided my time.
So yeah, you said avoiding the big ones. I heard you say earlier that you had 0 incident points, so congratulations to you on that. That's a testament for any small track, right?
Yeah, I mean, 0 incident points at a place like this, with some weapons on the track, is always something to be proud of, I guess.
Yeah, definitely. Anytime you can come and share the company of the gentleman that you did and end up on the podium, that's always going to be a win. How much did you guys put into this? Because it looks like it's a Fortis 1, 2, 3 tonight. So How much collective teamwork did the Fortis guys put in this week in order to make this happen?
I mean, this is going to sound bad on the interview, but I don't work with them at all when it comes to the setups. You know, I run Ryko, so I mean, shout out to Ken Byron and the Ryko team back home that puts together good machines for me to be able to run every single week. I just don't have that extra edge at a paperclip track. I am terrible when it comes to these tracks. I'm actually surprised I even finished P3. I incident pointed out of NIS last night, which is complete polar opposite to the 0 incident points that I got tonight. But NIS, I mean, yeah, that's another story on its own. But yeah, I mean, shout out Ryko, shout out the Fortis guys. I mean, you know, for being brand new at building their own setups, doing all the test laps and everything that they do every single week, they're proving that they can do it and kick ass.
Well, that does bring us to the next part, though. Who are you shouting out here tonight for your third place finish overall?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I guess I kind of already ran through them, but shout out Ryko again. I mean, Ken he's a machine. So he makes sure that every single one of us is comfortable on the setup each and every week. So, and again, shout out to Fortis guys. Always putting together good machines. They're incredibly hard to pass as of late. I wish I would have got a win at Homestead, but old Clayton had my number there. Shout out to you guys for, of course, putting on an amazing broadcast. I'm sure it was a snooze fest and we don't have any viewers. And if we did have any viewers, they fell asleep because we ran 3/4 of that race under yellow, it felt like. Shout out Kenny for putting on the league. I mean, the ISCA is probably one of the best next-gen leagues out here. I mean, each and every Thursday night. I know tonight didn't look like it, but once we get back to some racetracks where we can spread back out, it'll definitely improve again.
Well, congratulations again to you, and as I always say, don't party too hard, and we'll see you next week.
Thank you.
That was Derek Heitman, our third place finish. And next up in the booth, we got Sheldon Atkinson. He's going to be with Matt DeCiani.
Hey, Sheldon. Wow. Let me get backwards here because I wasn't paying attention for about 10 seconds. Hey, Matt, Sheldon up here in the booth. Got a copy, man. We'll need you to bump that mic level up
just
a little bit. All right, there we go. Yeah, we can hear you good. So, man, dude, this race looked like from start to finish it belonged to either you or your buddy there in the 21 machine, Patrick Gitter. First off, talk me how you make it through a night where just about everybody threw everything at each other aside from the knee pads and the helmet, and you walk out of this thing without a single incident.
I think I got one there towards the end, maybe. I don't know, but whatever. I don't know. It's just trying to stay out front, I guess, or just not put yourself in bad situations. I don't know. I've been good here in the past, and we built a really good set this week, and kind of just was qualify up front and do what we can to maintain, you know, and kind of got unlucky there. I got some damage on one of the restarts. They checked up, and then got back to the lead on Pat's unluckiness with that one caution, and he got cut off with the wreck. And then me and Derek got exiting close pits there when we came and took right, so we had to start at the back again. So it's just up and down day. I mean, come out P2, I'll take it.
So, for those of us at home and those of us that aren't really that good at Martinsville, what is the secret? Because, like, you guys, obviously I know setup is a huge part of it, but what is it behind the wheel that, you know, makes you, that you've grasped here that kind of puts you above the everyday Joe, so to speak, when we come to Martinsville?
I mean, I think you just got, it's a heavy, very technical braking track, right? So I'm pretty decent on the road courses, and I think that translates well here now, especially since we're shifting. So how you maximize braking and downshifting, you know, to get the most roll speed. But the key to being fast here is rolling center well, and then having the drive off. Like, if you can do that, you're very hard to pass, and you can set up a lot of passes that way.
Thanks for point me in the right direction on that. I just want to say, after this second place finish tonight, who all do you want to thank and shout out for this performance?
Yeah, shout out Pat on getting the win, Derek with his P3. Thanks to you guys for calling the race, and Kenny for putting on the league. I know this was a long one. I think we might have eclipsed 20 cautions, but yeah, thanks for you guys for suffering through it like we did.
Well, thanks for putting on a good show up at the front, and thanks for coming here and talking to us in the booth tonight. I'm going to hand it back over to Big Al with your race winner, Patrick Gitter.
Oh, Patrick Gitter, Big Al up in the booth. You got me?
Yes, sir. I got you, Al.
You are the man of the hour, sir. You came, you led, you conquered, you won 114 laps to be exact. I think a couple of stage wins in there, at least one maybe. So why don't you talk us through this week, man? What was it like getting prepared for this short track, and what was your mentality coming into this thing?
Yeah, well, Matt is an incredible builder, and I mean, we just knew that we were already going to have a pretty solid base to work off of some stuff that we had tinkered with in the fall for a couple different leagues. So we pulled some stuff there, ran some testing and prepped, and it's like what Matt said, man, we were just really dialed on making sure we had center rotation and drive off to be able to defend where we needed, and just to try to be aggressive off exits to set up passes on entry for the following corners. And it seemed to work really well. And I mean, the car was fantastic all night, I felt like. So hats off to Matt for putting together a really good set this week.
Yeah, you use words like center rotation and drive off. Do you feel that the current status of the game really plays more favor to an experienced driver?
It depends on. I think it just depends case by case. Like I think it. Like if you're somebody, I think especially for these technical tracks, I think it especially helps. You know, there's some gimmicks and exploits here and there that fast guys know of that especially might be more helpful, mile and a half, things like that. But these technical tracks, man, yeah, I think it's huge. I mean, if you have real world experience, it just makes that gap a lot smaller to bridge when you've got that. So I kind of wonder myself, those short track guys that run late model super lates here at Martinsville, I mean, they've got to have an advantage, I would think. I mean, seems like they would have the upper hand there.
And I think probably short track driving is most accessible out of all of the types of driving we do. Any tips that you might give to somebody that's wanting to get better, whether it be in the sim or actually on the track?
I don't know. I mean, I think Matt nailed it earlier. The road course guys really seem to transition to Martinsville well because they're very good with gradual modulation with brake and throttle, very consistent with how much pressure they're applying and rolling in and out of throttle and brake, stuff like that. I think trail braking is huge here for a track like this. Like if you don't feel so great with trail braking, you've got to be somewhat proficient in it, I feel like, to be good at these types of tracks where you got these hairpin corners where you really have to be patient with speeds, holding certain speed through center of the corner, things like that.
Okay, so speaking of patience, it wouldn't be me if I didn't mention the elephant in the room. So what actually went on between you and Brandon down there in that time?
Yeah, so coming into that I guess it was coming to the white flag, I had it was a pretty tight hole there, and I stuck it down on the bottom, and I felt like it was set up very similar to a move I made on, it was like Randy and Josh, I think, that were middle and outside into one, like 5 laps prior, and we got through it okay. And that time, I don't know what happened. I knew it was tight. I felt like I was squeezed in there. I felt like I had it. I mean, I was going to have to, I was entering like right on the apron, basically, was going to have to just roll left tires on the apron and hold it there. So I don't know, if I was a little higher, Brandon came down. I haven't really looked at the replay too much yet, but excited for the win, but it's can't really enjoy it as much when it's done like that. It's never like there being a wreck coming to the end of a race like that can sway an outcome.
Well, I tell you, it was far from boring. Very entertaining race here tonight. Very entertaining driver. Congrats to you. Who you shouting out tonight for your first place overall winner in the Goodies 250?
Yeah, man. Shout out to Matt. fantastic car, fantastic builder, fantastic driver. Glad he came P2 tonight, right behind me. Shout out to Derek for P3. You know, he's got the Ryko power under his hood, but you know, he's affiliated with us, and we've been racing with him for a long time. So, shout out to him for 3rd place. Fortis Motorsports in general, new group. You know, me, Matt, and Carl Dodson, who doesn't run in this league with us, but another guy we've known for a while that we're friends with, and it's good to have along. So just proud of the work we're doing as a small team, you know, where it's primarily Matt and I that are doing testing and building the cars, and we're bringing it and putting up a fight with the big teams and shops on iRacing. So we're proud of that. Hope that continues. But shout out to you guys in the booth for calling the race, and Kenny for putting on the lead.
Hey man, congratulations to you, and as I always say, don't party too hard, and we'll see you next week at Darlington.
Yep, 10-4. Thanks, guys.
That was Patrick Gitter, your night's winner. And I want to go ahead and say, wow, what a race it was here tonight, Sheldon. I mean, this thing started off like with a bang and it ended with a couple. What are your thoughts overall?
We're going to be honest here, man. I'm looking forward to getting these guys back to Darlington, getting back to something a little less chaotic and a little more fun for us to call up here in the booth. They did do a good job reining it in there in the later stages. All in all, it was a good race. I mean, you got everything you expect to see from a iRacing short track race. Tempers flying, fenders getting bent, and lots of little bits of chaos here and there. But been an honor to sit up here in the booth with you again tonight, Al and Kobe. Great work there tonight in the production truck, and looking forward to seeing you guys next week at Darlington.
Yeah, absolutely. Tempers and flags flying here tonight. I guess that would be the tagline for tonight's event. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm your host, Al Nixon. I appreciate you for tuning in. Thanks for Kenny Powell and the ISCA. Thanks for Kobe for bringing it all together down beneath in the truck. Thanks you, Sheldon, for being the hostess with the mostest. And thank you all for joining us here tonight. Please tune back in with us on every Thursday at the same bat time on the same bat channel. I'm Al Nixon. As I always say, don't party too hard, and good night.
I found the ISCA after I'd been in the service for a long time. I'd been in iRacing for well over a decade, and spent most of my time in NASCAR series, a lot of fixed racing for the most part. And really just got to a point in my iRacing career where I really wanted to get involved in open setup racing versus fixed, partially because I was just looking for a little higher level of competition, you know, maybe a little cleaner driving, and maybe get away from some of the challenges that go along with fixed racing on the service. And it took me a while as I was really searching out leagues, because I kind of had a very specific thing I was looking for. A, I wanted to be an established league. You know, B, I just really wanted clean, quality drivers to be racing around. And once I found the ISCA, I found out really quick that it was going to check all those boxes, and I've been with the ISCA ever since.